Listen up. So if you're trying to skip out on the Galaxy S8 because, I don't know, maybe it's too expensive, then the LG G6 is not a bad option. So LG sent me the G6 again, so I'm just going to take this as the final build and not the pre-release. Now they shipped out the silver one this time around as requested, so I'm happy about that. And I just can't express my admiration for this sexy color. Ice Platinum is what it's called, attractive from the back, but even better looking from the front with that 18:9 display, making it the first 18:9 smartphone with the Galaxy S8 being second. Easily one of the most beautiful smartphones I've seen, as the contrast between the screen and that thin bezel accentuates its beauty. I really like where smartphone design is headed in 2017. So since my previous G6 video, my initial views changed a little bit. So the LG launcher is okay, you get a few different home layout options, but it ultimately kind of feels like a hybrid between TouchWiz and iOS with its colors and shapes. There's really not too much going on. I think I've just gotten so used to using the Pixel that eventually I just slapped on the Nova launcher and called it a day, along with a dope space background. You guys know I love these kind of wallpapers. I'll go ahead and drop a link to this down below because I know you guys are going to ask. Also, Google Assistant has been a delight using on the G6. It's also rolling out to the Galaxy S8 as well, along with other devices via a Google Services update. So I'm glad that that feature is being shared amongst the crop. Thumbs up for that. I did enjoy LG's knock-on feature. It's certainly not a gimmick, at least in my opinion. I found it to be extremely useful when laying the phone flat on its back, and if you chose to go the LG G6 route, I think it's a great alternative to Samsung's always-on display. Now, to call the G6 a complete Galaxy S8 replacement, I get it, I understand. That's a bit of a stretch because, I mean, the G6's camera just doesn't stand a chance. It's just not there. It's not terrible. I'm just being extra critical because that's where the bar has been raised. In fact, I think that the most average Joes would be more than satisfied using this camera. This camera has like this artifacting / over sharpening problem. I'll explain that in a bit. Also, HDR is a hit or miss. I do like when it's on though, it stays on. It doesn't revert back to auto or anything, so that's good. Sometimes it works well, sometimes it doesn't. It could definitely do a better job at bringing out some of those shadows. Coming from the Pixel, the difference is very noticeable. I think this camera had a lot of potential and is definitely great in producing some great photos in terms of color. So I am disappointed with HDR. Now, despite all that, I did manage to take some great photos the other day, of course in available daylight, those sky shots especially, and the same is true for the selfie camera also. The over sharpening isn't as noticeable in bright outdoor shots. In lower light though, it's really hard to unsee those yucky artifacts. It's just not up to par with some of the competition out there, and I understand why sharpening would be necessary in post-processing an image, but it just does more harm than justice to the photos when it comes to using the LG G6. And it's worse when shooting an 18:9 because of the lower resolution at only 8.7 megapixels, so do yourself a favor and utilize the full 13 megapixels by shooting in 4:3. But I will say though, regardless of that, viewing 18:9 photos really does remind you of how thin those bezels are on this phone. It would have been nice to get the full 13 megapixels while shooting 18:9, but unfortunately that's not the case. But I think one of the camera's strong points is the phase detection autofocus. It's precise, it's quick, just like the Galaxy S8, and you're able to point and shoot without any shaky image results thanks to its optical image stabilization, which is, by the way, something you can also expect using the GS8. Now, I use the camera in automatic, but don't sleep on its manual controls as they're very generous. Focus peaking is an excellent feature amongst as many other options like ISO and color temperature adjustments. I think some buttons could have been moved around a little bit, but for the most part, the layout is friendly, and I also dig that share bar that you can pull from the side after you snap a photo. I found it to be real convenient. Now, I'll be honest, I was never really a big user of dual lenses, even when the iPhone 7 Plus came out. I think it's a great feature, don't get me wrong, but maybe I just haven't come across the opportunity to use it as much. Now, the wide angle lens is a little bit on the fisheye side, as mentioned in my previous video. It's almost GoPro territory. You also get that same wide angle feature for the selfie cam. This is like a digital effect as there's only one lens, but points to LG for keeping that UI consistent. Also, like the Galaxy S8, we also get Gorilla Glass 5. Only on the back, however. On the front, we get Gorilla Glass 3. I'm not sure why LG made that decision, but I digress. And also similar to the GS8, the LG G6 comes with an IP68 water resistance rating, so shout out to LG for keeping up with the times and for also including a fingerprint sensor where your finger will naturally fall. That's something you're going to have trouble with when using the misaligned fingerprint sensor on the Galaxy S8. We also get wireless charging along with Quick Charge 3.0 as opposed to Quick Charge 2.0 that's found on both Galaxy S8 models, and this phone charges stupid fast. LG really isn't playing playing games when it comes to the feature set, and they clearly know what the consumer wants. And in my last video, I said that the G6 was just another smartphone, but I kind of want to backtrack and say that the G6 is another fantastic smartphone that's up there with some of the other fantastic smartphones, if that sounds any better. It's reasonably priced for what it offers, and for being a flagship, you can pick it up from anywhere between $650 and $720 US. Now, if you compare that to the near $1,000 price tag of the Galaxy S8 Plus, then you've got yourself a great alternative. Now, I know I may have missed on a few points like battery life and some other features, but I am going to do a deeper comparison later this month and compare this to the Arctic Silver Galaxy S8 once that arrives. Until then, the LG G6 will be my daily driver for the time being. As always, I'm curious to know what you guys think. Let's start a debate. Drop those comments down below. Let me know what are your thoughts on the LG G6 and if you think this is a great Galaxy S8 alternative. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and show some love by touching that like button, and be sure to subscribe for some more awesome tech videos. Again, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video.